Hey, how's it going? This is Chris from Tiny Industrial. This right here is the house battery for this RV. We're going to swap it out from a regular lead acid battery to a really new age, new tech lithium phosphate iron battery. I think that's what it is. Lipof or something like that. So let's get started. Here we go. All right, so before we swap this battery out, we're gonna do two things. Unplug the house, for safety's sake. So that means we're gonna take off our 30 amp connector. Boom. So we're gonna turn off the fridge. That's done right up here, on off button. I just turned it off. And then we're going to put this into store mode. All right, lights off. So that's your battery disconnect. That should completely isolate this battery from the rest of the house. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna pull that old battery out, and then we're gonna figure out how to get the new battery in there. All right, so before I get started with this video, just a brief introduction. I'm Chris. I have a tiny house and I have this camper. I don't own any real estate anymore. I'm really at the point in my life where I'm downsizing and I'm sharing that path and that journey with others. You're gonna see various videos about RV upgrades, maintenance, and so forth. Plus, you're gonna see videos about tiny houses. They're a big part of my life currently. But let's get back to the battery install because that's what you're here for. So here we go. All right, so now that we have the battery isolated, RV is disconnected. This tray is all the way out. You got your positive over here, you got your negative over here, and then you got it locked into these terminals. The new battery has different ports that these wires will connect into more readily. We're just gonna disconnect this. Yeah, again, like this battery kind of sort of works. It's hard to tell from the battery itself, but it looks like it might just be a regular car battery, quite frankly. This RV may have not had any battery for a while. It's hard to know, but when I bought it, it came with this particular battery. These are kind of adapters that go from the sort of the round, I don't know, I'm sure there's a name for it, ports on the battery to more of a post. The new battery has the sort of the integrated things in it. So let's pull this sucker out. There we go. All right, so that's out. Now, the issue with this tray is, well, one, it's kind of rusty. This one has this lip right here, which is kind of problematic, but it's intended for basically two batteries of this particular size. So they're meant to go on either end of that. One battery, just generally not sufficient. So let me show you what I got. Right, so what am I replacing it with? I'm replacing it with one of these. This is so nice. This is a LifePo 4. So it's the this is the new battery technology basically. It's not very heavy. If this were a lead acid battery, I would have to be like a strong man to be able to lift this thing. I'll put a link for this battery down in the description. I can't make any claims or warranties in terms of how good it is. It had good reviews. It was a little less expensive than some of the other batteries out there. This is a 100 amp hour model, so that should deliver quite a bit of power. So a couple things to note. The beauty of these batteries versus a lead acid or a gel battery is that you can draw this battery down to next to nothing and it'll be fine. What do I mean by that? So the general theory behind the lead acid batteries, the deep cycle ones, is you're only supposed to take them from basically 100 down to 50%, then you're meant to recharge them. That might be a 100 amp hour rating on that battery, but you only get to use basically 50 hours of that 100 amp hour rating. So you're really only getting like half, whereas with one of these, you can take it all the way down to nothing, recharge it, and so forth. Now, the caveat is on an older RV like this, the mechanism that charges this house battery is hooked into the electrical panel. I haven't checked in this particular RV what kind it is, but they're kind of not designed and meant for these batteries. But what typically will happen is that they will only take these batteries up to a point of about an 80% charge before they cut off and believe that the battery is in fact full. Now, that's not the end of the world, but you're losing basically, you know, a fifth of the capacity of the battery by virtue of that. Two ways to remedy it. One, you can change that charge controller to be able to recognize this battery and be able to load it and fill it up to its 100% mark. Or you can add solar to the roof, right? And then if you have the proper charge controller off the solar system, that will effectively notice that the battery is not full and will top it up with a solar charge. For me, that's kind of the best of both worlds. Since I want solar to top up my batteries all the time anyway, and since when I'm not plugged into shore power, well, when I am plugged into shore power, it doesn't really matter if I have a full battery or not. When I'm unplugged from shore power and not using it, the sun will charge this battery to 100%. So I think I'm not even going to fiddle with the internal charging mechanism, the shore power one that I referenced. But I'm going to simply, once I add the solar component, rely on that to take me to 100%. The nature of this compartment is such that the battery, yeah, this is a bigger battery. I think what I'll try to do is I'm going to cut into the bottom of this box. That'll serve two purposes. It'll allow the box to drain if and when water gets in there, which invariably it will. It'll also allow the box to sit more snugly, tightly in this space. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a notch into the bottom of the box, and then I'm going to pad out the whole thing once that box is sitting sort of on this lip. I think that's going to be the best solution, quite frankly. So I'm just going to cut that ridge notch into the bottom of this box. That was pretty easy, actually. I just kind of very rough and ready used a saw and cut a notch, like I said, down in the bottom of this box. That now very nicely sits, as I said, on top of that ridge. Come on, get in there. That's underneath there. There we go. And it actually like holds it in place rather nicely. If you take a look up top, there you can see the metal beam come up through the box. And I've got a solution for that as well. Hold on. So at the dollar store, they sell these. It's like for gardening. That's a little bit on the long side. So I'm going to cut this handle portion off. But that's going to sit in the bottom of the box and provide a cushion for the battery to sit on. And the part of the ridge that's poking up in there is just going to push itself right here into the this foam mat. It's basically, at first I was thinking of using pool noodles, which I guess would be fine too, but that's going to sit in the bottom, cover the entire bottom of the thing, and then the battery is going to sit on top of this and provide a nice soft base for the battery to sit on. Whereas if I put the battery in there right now, there'd be some portion of the bottom of the battery which would literally just sit on top of that metal beam, and I don't want that, obviously. So this is my solution for that. So let's cut the handle off. All right, voila. There is the handle part now gone. That goes in there. And yeah, and then the battery's gonna sit on that. So if we take this back out, there we go. Then we pop that pad in there, and then we put the battery in there. Yeah, and then all that remains to be done is basically putting the battery back in and reconnecting it. So yeah, so you have that on top of there. That's Fergus barking. There we go. There it is. All right, beautiful. All right, so there we go. Battery's in there. And then I think what I'm gonna do is, for some added stability in there, so the battery doesn't flop around, do it like that. positive has to get hooked up to positive. That's that connector. We get some pliers and the connectors. Are we positive that's positive? Yes, we're positive it's positive. These are awkward. There we go. That's what we want. All right, that's hooked up. All of this is slightly awkward to do. We'll tighten those down. Beautiful. So those are on and sufficiently tight. Oh, wow. Therein lies the rub. Well, the only question is, will it fit? There's a wire. That's what's blocking it. It looks like we can get away with this, but it feels like this is now in the way. So let's cut it out. I'll just lift it up like that. It should be fine. Totally in. All right. That was easy. It's in. Right there in a beautiful box, whose lid will never come off again. Let's hope we did this right. Let's connect the battery. Battery connected. The new battery in this nice box in there, and it's working. I'm going to see how much charge was on this thing as shipped from the manufacturer. Battery is full. All right. Reconnected our battery, and it's working. So what more do you want? So we've gone from what was previously a very low performance, probably not even a deep cycle car battery, to now a lithium battery. If this video has been helpful to you, you want to check out some of my other content, I'd say that's awesome, and would invite you to hit the like button. That helps me the most. And we'll see you next time. This is Chris signing off, Tiny Industrial. Take care, next video.